in 2025, I did the carnivore diet and it literally changed my life. And so I really believe that this diet can set you on a whole different trajectory. So stay tuned. Are you one of the few? This is the channel for you. My name is Victoria and I make eczema related and carnivore related content because the carnivore diet has almost healed my eczema. I've only been a carnivore for like 4 months, but in the last 4 months, I have experienced nothing short of a miracle. And not only has it changed my skin, it has changed my life. Like, oh my goodness. So anyway, that is what I'm here. It is my mission to just share that this can change things. This can change things, but you know what? It can't change unless you change, right? And unless you know how to do it. So today I want to talk about it. I have a lot of new subscribers. So if you don't know me, I am Victoria. And just to like quickly share my story, I suffered with eczema my entire life. And I've tried everything. I've tried everything. You can go see some of my other videos. And this is the first time that through diet alone, I'm not wearing any makeup in my videos. I'm in the process of getting rid of my eczema. It's not completely gone, but it is, I would say, 85 to 90% gone. And I know it's just a matter of time that it'll be gone entirely. So I am really passionate about this diet. And, you know, I used to make just only eczema related content, but I can't help but transition into a more carnivore based channel because that to me has been the ticket. That has been my eczema cure. And I know that the carnivore diet heals so many other things, a plethora of things, and there's just not enough of that information out there. So anyway, if you are new here, because over the holidays, I got an influx of subscribers, I just wanted to formally introduce myself. Welcome to the few. This is the place for you. Please drop a comment down below. Let me know what has brought you to this channel, whether it be skin issues, health issues, carnivore. I want to hear all about it and just create community here. But anyway, let's get into the good stuff, okay? 5 things. 5 things that you need to know to actually do the carnivore diet, be successful in 2026 so that it doesn't have to be another one of those years. I am not a big New Year person. New Year, new me. No, it's new year, same thee, okay? I used to do these elaborate goals and then you just don't do them. Eventually, you know, you're in the gym for the first 3 weeks and then by February it's over. And I got tired of that and I decided to stop with these elaborate resolutions and I started to build in a different way. And, you know, I feel like I got further with that as opposed to like these big goals. But I will say that doing the carnivore diet has actually been a catalyst to reach for the stars and some of my other goals in life. So this diet, it's not just for health, it's actually just for mind, productivity, success, all those things kind of come. I only did it for my skin. I needed my skin to win. And now that it's winning, I'm like, oh, actually I can win too. But I'm gonna tell you guys 5 things to really jumpstart your carnivore diet so that it actually works this time. And at the very end, I think the last one would surprise you because I kind of went through a little bit of that through the Christmas season. So I'll tell you about that later. But let's start with the first thing. I want you guys to picture your end goal, okay? Ultimately, that is what we need to do. We need to picture our end goal and what we're trying to accomplish here. So if you want to start your diet, you need to picture yourself as a carnivore. What is this going to look like for you? What is it going to look like? Are you know, what types of meals does this carnivore end goal look like? You know, what do you look like when you get to that goal? I think people need to understand what it is they're even trying to attain. It's like, I want to go carnivore, but like, what does that look like? So for myself, as I look into the future of me as a carnivore, I just see a woman who, you know, eats a lot of meat, eats a lot of fat. She's very healthy. She has glowing skin, you know, a lot of self-discipline and just a grace and poise through her life. So that's just it. I picture that. And now the second thing you need to do is reverse engineer how to get there. She's fit. that's also part of it. And so you have to reverse engineer how you're going to get to this point. So this is the goal. I want to be a carnivore. Well, how am I going to get there? What is it going to take? What steps do I need to take? And the reality is we all have different steps we need to take to get there. Yes, we're all going to the same destination of carnivore, but how we're going to get there is very different because we all are coming from different body weights, different lifestyles, different diets, And so for myself, when I transitioned into carnivore, I was already keto. So it wasn't a huge leap. I was also a bit of a sugar addict. So I was like a keto plus sugar addict. Like, does that even make sense? But so my hiccups would be different than someone coming from a standard American diet, or maybe someone who's coming from paleo, or who knows, if it was someone who had more weight to lose. I didn't have a lot of weight to lose. So I also had to be very careful about weight loss. And so my journey into carnivore was going to look very different. So you need to map out, what does your journey into carnivore going to look like? What do you need to do? And what are some possible hiccups that are going to screw you up and stop you from getting on this journey? For myself, I knew that if I had junk in the house, that would probably not help me very much. So I actually got my whole family somewhat on board. And I made sure that the treats and things, I don't bake sourdough bread anymore because I realized that that would be just too much of a temptation. So I think as you reverse engineer, you have to know yourself and know that future person. What does that successful person do? So what do I do as a carnivore? Well, every morning I have my butter coffee because I still have coffee with my collagen powder, and that helps me. I always have a late breakfast planned of bacon. That's just my default: bacon, sausage, or ground beef. It's an automatic. It's not necessarily, oh, what are we going to eat today? I always know what I like to eat for dinner. So just knowing what I'm going to eat for food always sets me up in that space. I also know how I behave when I go to restaurants. I know that anytime I'm going to go to a new restaurant, I will search the menu before I go there to make sure that there are options for myself. I actually tend to make suggestions. So when it's time for us to go places, I don't have to have the carnivore conversation. I just say, hey, let's go to Korean Grill because I know that they're going to have all you can eat meat, that type of thing. So those are the things you really need to get into the psyche of the carnivore, right? As you reverse engineer, what do they do? What does their morning routine look like? What does their evening routine look like? What does it look like when they are eating with their family and friends and they are not partaking in everything else they're eating? And a lot of people just think all I need to do is go to Costco, buy a big steak, slice it up into 25 steaks and eat my steak and I'll be a carnivore. It's a mindset. And I think that is really what draws people back from being able to do anything in life. It's their mindset. And we don't take the time to do this. We just try to do something very difficult and then expect to be able to do it. But you didn't acquire the mental process to get there. You didn't acquire that grit that you need to follow through with this. And this is why a lot of our goals in life don't really ever get anywhere, because we just have the goal in mind, but we have no clue how to get there. And even if we have a few ideas, we're like, okay, I want to be fit. Let me go to the gym every day. But maybe does the super fit people, do they go to the gym every day? Maybe they go every other day. Maybe they have a better plan in place that allows them to do this. Maybe, it could be anything. So that's what I would say. All right. So then when you kind of figured out the psyche behind it, you're going to move into fasting. Fast, okay? You need to do minimum a 3-day fast before you start this to starve your body of carbs and all the joy of life. No, I'm kidding. You need to fast because it just jumpstarts your body, your digestion, and puts you in a better mode to only meat, it puts you in a better mode to eating meat only. All right. So once you spend 3 days, you might be a little bit miserable because it's not easy to stop eating what you've been eating. You've been eating like this for whoever knows how long, 20 years, 30 years, So that's not going to be fun. But you mentally prepare. You say, okay, guess what? It's just gonna be 3 days. I'm only gonna drink water, maybe drink water and electrolytes. I still personally would have my butter coffee because I need coffee. Coffee makes me productive, and that's just final. So, but you do what you need to do to put yourself in that mental frame. Do not start fasting when you have a lot to do. Don't, fast, on the first day of work or first day of something important. No, take time out of your schedule and say, this, maybe it's a weekend, this is time I can afford to feel like crap for 3 days, because you probably will, especially if you never fasted before. I have some other videos about fasts that I've done if you want to check those out. I fast for my skin. Often when my skin is flaring, it's good for me to fast and the inflammation comes right down. So you're going to do your fast for 3 days. On, let's say, the second or third day of that fast, that's when you are going to do your purchasing of your food. You are going to purchase all of your meats for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. There's a good chance you're not going to need to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but in your mind, you're going to want breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And there is nothing like shopping when you're fasting. But you have had to prepare your mind that we're going to be eating just meat. And I don't know what it is. You can let me know. You can try it and then let me know in the comments. Part of you will want to just buy junk, but you're going to immerse yourself in the world of carnivore. There are so many videos, and you're going to watch steak, and you are just going to want steak. I did it before I first started carnivore. This is what happened to me. I was on day 2 of the fast. I said, that's it. I'm going carnivore. I just started watching video after like steak and ground beef and all the things, all the carnivore videos. And all of a sudden, that's what I was craving. I was hungry. Went to the grocery store, I got that. I went right past the gummies. I went past the chips. I just got what I needed. And that's what you're gonna do, so that when it's time to break your fast, you have everything you need. And please clear out those cupboards. Get rid of it, give it to whoever you need to, throw it out. I would throw it out, but and on the third day, because you're gonna break on the fourth day, I guess, I want you to just visualize yourself getting up, making your butter coffee, making your eggs and bacon. I wish I could have eggs. I don't. If you are doing this to heal your eczema, do not have eggs, do not have dairy. But everybody else, the world's your oyster. You're going to have maybe your eggs and bacon, and you're going to visualize yourself having that. You're going to make as much as you like. We're not going to worry about calories. We're not going to worry about, any of that. We're not worried about weight loss. We're just one at a time trying to get this habit in place, because habits compounded eventually will come a goal. And our biggest issues in life is that we just don't have good habits, and that's why we don't have a good life, because our habits are all out of whack. But then we have these luxurious goals. So to get a habit, you need to picture yourself doing the habit, and then when the time comes, ironically, your brain will already know what to do. So I encourage you, on those days of fasting, picture yourself eating meat only. Picture yourself being satisfied by meat only. I know this sounds like mental gymnastics, but guess what? Our brains are like this. Like, this is what happens. There's the science, neuroscience, neuroplasticity, all those things. It all works. It sounds like hocus pocus, but I promise you, just do it. You want to start drinking water every day? Spend a couple days picturing yourself drinking water every time you wake up in the morning, and then put that cup by your bedside, and guess what you're going to start doing? Drinking water every morning. It's just powerful. Of course, you have to so you picture it, and then you set yourself up to be able to do it. So the picturing, and then purchasing the food, making sure all your food is set up, and then day 4, ready to go, okay? Now, you cannot do any of this if you don't know your why. Why in the world are you going carnivore? Why? For myself, it was crystal clear. I looked like Freddy Krueger. I was tired of looking like Freddy Krueger. I am 39. I will be 40 in 1 month. Who the heck wants to have rashes at this age? At any age, I don't want to be covered in rash. I was tired of waking up with swollen eyes. I was tired of everywhere I go, I got to worry about, the climate, and is it going to make me itchy, and this fabric and this. I was tired. And though I had been tired many times before, this level of tired was fierce. It was ferocious. There was an anger. There was a no, I'm not living like this anymore. I am done. Done like dinner. I don't care. I'll never eat again if that has to do it. Like that was the kind of radical why I understood I was doing this. Like I was just like, yeah, no. You have to have a why that transcends everything about you. This why needs to hit the core strings of your heart and make you think, I have to do this. You know, for some, it could be illness, sickness, disease. For others, it could be something like you're just not content with where you're at in life. Not maybe your weight is making you feel insecure, and that insecurity is impairing your life. Whatever it is, you have to know your why, because the world, once you start this, is going to give you a lot of why nots and why you shouldn't do this. And so knowing your why is very important. I know for myself at Christmas, obviously, you are exposed to so many different foods and things, and people would just be like, oh, like, don't you miss it? Or don't you, just a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And although I did try things, I did what I call the taste and spit, but I wasn't about to sit and engage in a whole full-blown sad American diet meal. It didn't matter to me that it was Christmas, because my why meant so much more to me. The fact that I am healthy, the fact that I feel good. And at Christmas, it became crystal clear how not well everyone is around me, and how I wasn't feeling that way. I don't feel fatigued. I don't feel tired. I don't feel sluggish. My mind is not messed up. I don't have any hormonal stuff. I feel like $1,000,000. I'm only tired when I'm supposed to be tired, and that's like at 11 p.m. But I'm okay. I can go, which typically wasn't normal for me. And so now that I'm feeling this like superhuman feeling, and I remember that why. I remember that day that my skin was flaring, and the day that I just chose that this is it, I'm done. I remember that, and that why I hold on to that, because I'm like, I'm so sorry, but a Cinnabon is not worth the inflammation. A chocolate bar, that momentary satisfaction, it's not worth anything. And the longer you go in this, I won't trade that for anything. So, okay. This is the last thing that I don't really think people talk about, but it's a reality, and it's important, because this is going to determine if you're going to be able to do this in 2026, 2027, 2028, 2029, and going forward. It's this key principle, and it's expecting and preparing for setbacks, okay? Nobody's perfect. I know there are some people that they white knuckle it and they keep their carnivore diet in pristineness, but the average person is going to have a setback. A setback might be that they have a day where they don't eat carnivore, or a setback might be that your health takes a setback while you're on the carnivore journey, where just things don't look like you expected. And that is the point where it's like, okay, what am I going to do here? I had a setback about, I think it was 7 weeks in. I had a flare. You can see this video. And I think my body was oxalate dumping, and all the medication was coming out of my system. And it felt like a setback, because I had been doing so well. And then all of a sudden my skin is flaring, and I'm thinking, the whole purpose of me doing this is for my skin to be good. And what? I was so upset. But I realized that this is a setback, but the answer was not macaroni pie. The answer was not to go back to how I was eating. I realized I have to push through this valley here. And that was my setback with skin stuff. I didn't necessarily have a setback of food. I haven't been tempted, as I said, to eat a terrible meal. However, at Christmas, right? We're going to talk about it. At Christmas, I have Jamaican partly background, and one thing that we eat is black cake. Comment down below if you know about the black cake. But that cake is one of my favorite types of cake. It's like a fruit and rum cake, and So I decided I would taste and spit, and I did a lot of tasting and a lot of spitting. And of course, when you taste, you taste it and then you spit it out. you are going to digest a little bit. So if you do it once, not a big deal. I tasted and spat an entire piece. So I'm going to guess I consumed, probably half a slice of cake, or I don't know. Like there was cake in my body. And I did that daily for, during the duration of Christmas. I was tasting and spitting, not even just that, my Biscoff cookies. I was tasting and spitting a lot of things during that. And that was my way of kind of still participating in the season, but telling myself, well, hey, it's better. But the inflammation came. My eyes started to blow up, not after the first day or the second day, maybe the fourth day. My body was like, okay, you want to play this game? And I started to experience mild inflammation compared to what I've experienced in the past, but just enough that I didn't look the same and just enough for me to remember my why. And I was right back on track. And I said, okay, hands up, we're done. It's fine. Carnivore, you win. And I didn't, but that is a setback. I could have just, felt bad about myself for trying it. I actually made that allowance for myself. I said that I will allow myself to taste and spit so long as I continue spitting. If I don't spit, then clearly I don't have the self-discipline for this. So not everyone can do that. I was talking to my daughter about it. She's like, yeah, no way. But for myself, for whatever reason, I'm able to do the taste and spit. And I feel like, okay, because I don't want my taste buds to become so altered because I love to make things for other people, whether it be I bake or cook. And I want to kind of keep my taste buds, my palate still in line with what everybody else is eating so that I can still cook and do things for others and, not serve people really salty food or, a treat that has like 0 sugar and it tastes disgusting, right? So that's kind of my logic. When I taste and spit, I have a rule that I'm not just tasting and spitting Oreos, okay? It's something that's special. It's something that's novel. It's something that I'm not going to get. Like that black cake, that's not coming back around until next Christmas. It's traditional. So even though I did it so much, I didn't really care because I know that that's not coming around again. So if you're going to do the taste and spit method, don't do it for Skittles or something that you have like easy access to, right? That do it for the big things. Do it for maybe if you've gone to a birthday party and there's some special tiramisu, whatever, then cool, but don't do it for regular things, But anyway, I would say being okay with setbacks, preparing for setbacks is helpful because then it doesn't become a roadblock. It's just a speed bump and you keep on going. It's gonna happen for some people. They are gonna have a day where you binge on carbs and then you say, all right, that was fun, and get back online tomorrow. And don't think of it as we're starting day 1 again. No, you're still on day 79 of carnivore. Just because you screwed up your diet for a day doesn't mean, because it all balances out. In the long run, I've had more carnivore days and I've had non-carnivore days. So you just got to prepare for those setbacks, because I think that's what trips people up, and then they feel like, oh, I'm starting from ground zero and yada, yada, yada. No, it's not ground zero. It's just a little hiccup. And a lot of times, those setbacks show you how powerful the diet is. Me just tasting and spitting and seeing my eyes start to blow up, I actually will put up a picture. It's funny because the picture actually looks very beautiful, but I took it because my eye was swollen. And that brings a whole other thought of how we often think things are worse than they are, because I was like, oh my gosh, my eye. And then I took this picture and I was like, okay, though, you don't look too bad. But my eye was bothering me. Anyhow, point being, please prepare your mind for setbacks and just the attitude of, oh, well, I'm just going to start with this next thing. Don't fast. Don't go into a binge. Don't big deal about the fact that you screwed up. Just go back on as normal. And that's another thing you got to visualize. You got to visualize yourself. Okay, I had a bad day and now visualize myself doing better. And usually you will feel so bad from eating bad that can bring you back in. Like I said, my eye was bothering me and I was like, oh no, I have PTSD. I'm like, I can't. It was little, but it was enough to remind me I'm not trying to go back there. I'm not trying to feel off. I'm not trying to not have good sleep anymore. I don't want to do any of that. And hearing people complain about their fatigue and how they're feeling and all those things, I'm just like, that actually motivates me to continue what I'm doing. Because I literally sit there and like, wow, I can't even relate. Can't even relate. And it breaks my heart because I wouldn't want anyone to have to live that way. That's how I used to live. And to think just one simple diet, oh, we're losing center. One simple diet can bring you. So anyway, it's 2026, guys. It's 2026. I think we have done enough new year, new me's for a lifetime and them not been successful. So we're going to forget about the new year and we're just going to say, you know what? This is what I want. This is what I'm going to do. It doesn't matter that we're on whatever day of January. I'm going to start to prepare myself. I'm going to get in the headspace to be a carnivore and I'm going to change my life. But mostly know your why, okay? So obviously picture your end goal, picture yourself as a carnivore, re-engineer, what do I need to do to become that? Fast, purchase your food, okay? Get that food. Costco, you can buy the big meat, slice it up. I personally love ground beef. I'm actually gonna be doing a video showing you guys what I eat in a day because some of you requested that. And visualize just the process, visualize yourself, everything, okay? Visualize yourself cooking meat, eating meat. Like, I know it sounds silly. Do it. Let me know if you did it and how it helps when it's time to do this. And to be honest, this is something you can apply to anything. You want to be a good communicator when you meet people, visualize yourself doing that and what you'll say to people. And then when you need to meet people, you'll do it. You know, you want to see how you have anger issues, visualize yourself in an argument, how you'd feel, what you wish you would say. And I guarantee you, probably the next time you are in that position, you're going to act differently because you've pictured yourself acting differently. Like, please don't think this is powerful. All right. And know your why. Why do we want to be carnivores? Is it because you're like myself and you have eczema and you're done and tired, you know, or do you have cancer? Do you have fibromyalgia? Do you have a sickness? Do you need to lose a ton of weight? What is your why? And really dig into that and that understand why you can no longer live with this why. Because I think that's the point you need to be brought to. And expect and prepare for those setbacks and just brush them off the shoulder and say, okay, that was that. Today is a new day. Okay. And I guarantee you, we will be here 2027, 2028, and you will have crushed your goals for the first time in your life. Just applying all of this and it'll start to just transcend in every area of your life. Okay. So that is my 2026 carnivore, how you do it advice. I don't know what you want to call it. In my next video, I'm going to give you I think it's 4 months. I've been doing this 4-month update and stay tuned for that. I can't believe it's been this long already. I feel like I'm in flow state. This is just, I don't even think about my diet anymore. So stay tuned for that video and happy New Year. It's going to be a good one. Love you guys.